Good evening. Welcome to 19.5, presented to you by True Lion. Today, we're talking transfer window. We're talking who's hot, who's cold. We're analyzing the transfer window. Manchester United, Tottenham, Newcastle, Arsenal, Manchester City, Liverpool. We're going to be talking about these teams and how they have conducted business on this transfer window. Hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. It's going to be a interesting, interactive show. Thirty minutes, 10 minutes of football talk. We're going to talk about the winners so far, the winners, what's expected as the season starts. The season starts in barely, let's say, it's about 3 weeks. In about 3 weeks, because if you include, let's say, the curtain raiser, which is the Community Shield that plays August 8th. So that's about 10 days, a little bit over 10 days, 2 weeks from now, the Community Shield. Please share. If you log in, share, comment. Let's grow this channel. We're going to be talking football all year long. There's a lot to talk about. Lots of strikers coming into the EPL. Some are potential great strikers. Some already, like Gyökeres of Arsenal, are strikers pro. This is the EPL, where the stakes are high and where it could be very demanding psychologically. Champions League, cup competitions. It's going to be a long season. Then moving into the World Cup, it's going to be challenging. So let's start. And again, please share as you log in. Comment. Ask questions. Follow me on my various platforms. Let's talk football. Yes, sir. Let's talk football. 19.5 presented to you by True Lion. I'm running the live here on Facebook and also on my YouTube channel, so you can follow on either platforms. 30 minutes of your time. Some of you guys watching Manchester United West Ham preseason, I must say this: the FIFA Club World Cup was better. The ambience was better. The food was better. This preseason football, I'm still trying to get used to. Well, it's maybe some of the teams because the second games, all the second games, but the intensity is not really there. It's not like that, you know. So I think I prefer the FIFA Club World Cup. So the topic for today is who's hot, who's cold, as compared to what has been happening in the transfer window. So that's what we're talking about. And today we're gonna start with Liverpool. We're gonna start with Florian Welts, former Bayer Leverkusen striker. Liverpool paid 125 million pounds for this striker. 125 million euros, 116 million pounds. That's the base, and there's gonna be add-ons, so it can raise up significantly. It can rise up significantly depending on what those add-ons are. Another player that was signed was Hugo Etike, the Franco-Cameroonian coming from Eintracht Frankfurt. Liverpool actually signed him for 95 million euros. That's another huge one. He's a center forward. And potentially, Liverpool is also chasing Isaac. But here's the question: why will they buy Isaac and Hugo Eteke? That's a question that we might have to wait, or maybe we can throw some light, you know. But Isaac is not yet there, so for now it's a rumor, you know, and it's gonna be long. Now, when you look at a team like Liverpool, under Klopp, we didn't see such big signings. Liverpool has matched the record of Manchester United, winning 20 EPL titles. That's huge. Liverpool has more UEFA Champions League titles. Liverpool is a big team, but we don't know Liverpool for spending that this big. There is a reason behind this. And as we continue on this program, I will tell you guys why. The first reason is because of the new kit deals. Liverpool is moving from Nike. In the previous season, they used to wear Nike. Now they have a huge deal, okay, with Adidas. That's going to be huge for Liverpool. And that's why you're seeing them making such big moves in the transfer market. It's also because they won their 20th EPL title. So you can see that affecting their signings, okay? The way they are moving in the transfer window. So there's a new stream of revenue coming into the club. Another reason, if you look at the comments made by Liverpool CEO, Billy Hogan, he says, we are also recognized having won the English Premier League title for the 20th time. Manchester United has won it also for the 20th time. That is one of the biggest clubs in the world. Okay. He's talking about Liverpool. Okay. He said they are one of the biggest clubs in the world. We want to make sure that we are behaving like one, that we are behaving like one of the biggest clubs in the world, having a massive global, having massive global stars come and play at Anfield. You can testify. You see the signings coming. I don't know if Hugo Eteke is massive, if it's global. He's not that yet. He's not yet. He's not there yet. But however, you won't argue that a guy like Isaac, what Isaac actually did last year for Newcastle, you know, his profile has risen. So that's why you see such action, such movement, okay, in the markets. So he's talking about filling in stadiums in Hong Kong, in Japan. You know, they want to act like a global team. They want to be acting like Real Madrid, as Manchester City. That's why you see Liverpool now spending big. Okay. So with these type of statements, you can see why Liverpool is going towards the direction which they are going. Then also you see that Mo Salah will not be there for forever. If you see the type of players they're signing now, Welsh, Ekite, you know, they are signing some young players that will come and be there for a long time. So Liverpool wants to dominate. So if you had any doubt that Liverpool was not looking to win back-to-back EPL titles, okay, this is it for you. So now you know. Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, so this is proof, okay, that Liverpool will actually be going for back-to-back EPL titles. That Liverpool will be gunning down for Champions League with this type of a squad, with such depth in their squad. Believe me, Liverpool will look in, the EPL and will be strong contenders when Champions League football comes around. If they sign Isaac with what they already have in that squad, I think Liverpool will need to balance maybe defensively. Okay, with Konate looking to go maybe sometime next, season. Turn down, an improved contract. But with such signings, maybe if the season starts, he can actually make a U-turn to a club like Real Madrid. There's no guarantee. However, he will need an improved contract because what he is earning right now does not satisfy him. As we saw early on, Trent Alexander-Arnold left for Real Madrid. So Liverpool spending this big in the transfer market is testimony that Liverpool will be challenging for titles next season. I'm talking about UEFA Champions League and EPL. The next team we're going to talk about is Arsenal. Arsenal just concluded, the signing of Gyökeres. Gyökeres is coming to Arsenal. Okay. Before that, they signed Martin Zubimendi for 70 million euros. Okay. The former Real Sociedad man, a holding midfielder, a playmaker. Partey left. Partey has his issues. Arsenal has moved forward. Martin Zubimendi is announced to be coming. I mean, it's announced he's already there. It's already played like some games, in the this summer. I mean, preseason games. So Zubimendi is there, and Victor Gyökeres was just signed. I mean, that was confirmed today. So Arsenal, we know that Arsenal has been building for quite a while. Ever since, I think the turning point for Arsenal is when what's his name? Aubameyang. When Aubameyang actually left Arsenal, then we started seeing some movement by Arsenal in the transfer window. We started seeing a direction, and they did that in little increments. And just like Liverpool, we don't know about Arsenal for spending big. However, 100 million for Declan Rice. That was the beginning of things. A lot of people criticized Arsenal last season because they did not have a center forward. They spent a lot of money on Havertz too. But now, if you look at what Gyökeres has been doing, the amount of goals he scores, you will say that is pretty good business for Arsenal. He's coming in just for 63.5 million euros. That's not breaking the bank. 54 million pounds. That's not breaking the bank for a striker of his caliber. Look at how much how much Liverpool is willing to pay for Isaac. Isaac and Gyökeres, they all play for Sweden. Okay. The Swedish, they've been producing some great strikers. We know Zlatan is from Sweden. Now, if you look at the pecking order for Sweden, both players, Gyökeres and Isaac. Gyökeres is the one that plays down the middle, that center forward. So if you compare him and Isaac and look at their market value, Isaac is going for 150. Okay? Supposedly. The market also depends. Newcastle is not willing to sell. Newcastle is willing to play hardball, So that depends. It depends on a lot of things. But yet, Isaac will cost almost 3 times more than Yokeresh. Yes, Yokeresh is more accomplished when it comes to goal. Of course, Isaac is in the EPL, moving from one EPL team to another. That tells you also. And Newcastle is not willing to sell. So that's pushing up the price also high. So Arsenal has finally gotten their man. Will Yokeresh be the icing on the cake for Arsenal this season? Does the signing of Yokeresh make Arsenal title favorites? I want to hear about that. I want some of you guys to answer that because for me, these players don't play in an isolation. They play in a team. So it depends on how they will fit into that team. Of course, when I look at Yokeresh, he's a player that can actually fall into the midfield, good with the ball at his feet, can take on defenders. So which means he's fluid, especially up front. And that's the fluidity that Arsenal looks. And he's also clinical. He can score goals. So I think this makes Arsenal a contender. But again, football is not played in isolation. There are so many little parts that might have to come together for Arsenal to gel and be the team that they were 2 seasons or last season ago. But now, with added value up front as a center forward. So let's move on to Manchester United. Manchester United is just playing Newcastle, not Newcastle, West Ham. I'm sorry. They're playing West Ham. They're leading now by 2 goals to 0. It's a pre-friendly game. And my opinion, I think the FIFA Club World Cup was a better, much more competitive football, than these preseason games. So I'm not sure why a lot of people were making noise about FIFA organizing that tournament. The teams that participated in that tournament gained financially, and they had a better preparation if you want to talk about preseason. Matthias Cunha, there was the first player that Manchester United signed for 74.2 million euros. Good signing coming out of Wolves. Brian Buemo, his deal was just completed last week. Manchester United paid 75 million euros from Buemo, coming from Brentford. Amorim, in my opinion, is in the hot seat this season. I'm not sure he will be looking to play fancy football. So if Manchester United fans are looking for fancy football, forget about that. He will be looking to solidify his team. He will be looking to answer questions that many have for that Manchester United team. He plays in a 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1 formation. I mean, those are the most favorite formations for Manchester United and for Amorim. That's what he used actually to play when he was at Sporting. However, when I watched them last season, they did not have the right players, especially at the wings, the wing backs, to play the type of football. But now, when you look at the signings, they've signed Buemo, Cunha. Does Amorim really have the players to play the type of football that he wants to play? The players that have the energy, that have the skill set to move up and down the wings. Those are the questions that we shall be asking when the EPL season starts. And their first game is against Arsenal. So it will be very, very important for them to start maybe by winning or not by losing in order to gather momentum, because one thing that is lacking for them is confidence. And it will be very important for players like Cunha, Buemo who come in, especially Buemo who scored 20 goals, to start scoring. Maybe he plays one of the games this preseason, and he starts gaining confidence. So those are things we have to start looking at. Okay. So do you think United will be good enough to make the top 5, to make Champions League football? Keep in mind, they are not in Europe this season. Okay. So that's an advantage, which means they will not have so many competitions apart from the Cups. They will not have Champions League. They will not have Europa, So that's, something that they can actually benefit from. Let's move on to Chelsea. Chelsea just won the FIFA Club World Cup against Paris Saint-Germain. What a performance that was. and that should be added confidence for the Chelsea players. Chelsea signed Pedro, and Pedro came just banging goals, and that now creates competition. They have signed Delap. They have Jackson, who has been under fire from last season because he's not clinical enough. But now there's enough competition, you know, in that front line. So everybody has to try to play at their best. But let me remind the fans, winning the FIFA Club World Cup, it's different. You play about 7, 8 games. That's it within 1 month. It's different from winning the EPL. It's winning for being it's different from being a serious contender to win the EPL, especially when you look at the age. Okay, you look at the age of this Chelsea team. They are a young team. They are not experienced enough, and they will be playing on two fronts: Champions League football and EPL, then the Cups. So do they have, of course, they have quality players, they have talent. But do these players have the experience to win against the Manchester City? Of course, they can beat them on a game. I mean, to compete against the Manchester Cities, the Liverpool, the Arsenals on a daily basis. Okay. That is left to be seen. Maresca has his hand full, but they are coming with a lot of confidence. Okay. They signed some players. I don't think, they feel their job in the transfer market is over. But they did get Jamie Giddens coming from Borussia Dortmund, okay, on a fee of 64.3 million euros. They had Joao Pedro, as I said earlier, coming from Brighton on a fee of 63.7 million euros. And those are some good signings, believe me or not. But will Chelsea be strong contenders for the EPL? I want to hear about this. I want you guys to comment about this. I want also have a conversation about this. It's gonna be a long season. It's gonna be an interesting one. Okay. Let's move on to Manchester City. Manchester City did some fast signings just after the end of the season. They were ready. They went in fast, and I think one of the reasons is just because they knew that maybe they had a vision that the transfer market is gonna be, it's gonna be tough. Because if you look at the amount they signed some of these players, it was modest fees. When you look at how much Liverpool, how much what other team? I mean, how much Liverpool is paying for some players. Manchester City signed what's his name, Rajdas from AC Milan for 46.3 million pounds. Signed Nuri from Wolves for 36.3. Well, the left back, good footballer. Chesky, the very talented player, came from Lyon for 34 million pounds. And then they have Nipan from Rosenberg for 12 million pounds. So if you look at everything, it's just somewhere below, let's say, 130 million pounds on how many players? One, two, three, four players. I know they signed another young player from Chelsea, but I mean, that's it. If you look at what Liverpool has spent, that's a lot on how many players. So Manchester City did their business early, and then we saw how these players played in the FIFA Club World Cup. So my question is like, what was the major problem of Manchester City last year or last season? What is their team looking to resolve? For me, I think it was defensive. I think their transition defense was not that good. They were exposed so many times defensively, playing on the high line, losing cheap balls, and they're not able to converge and defend. So for me, they have to solve that defensive problem. And if Pep Guardiola cannot solve that defensive problem, then I think it's going to be a long, difficult season for Manchester City, because all other teams look strong and better defensively than Manchester City. I'm talking about Arsenal. I'm talking about Liverpool. those teams look better defensively than Manchester City. Remember this: defense wins championship. And I also think Edison, their goalkeeper, for me, he's done. He's done. Yeah, to be honest about it, Edison for me is done. He makes some cheap mistakes, and I think in order to win EPL, you need a very, very good goalkeeper, or you need your goalkeeper to be at his best. I think we have seen the better years of a goalkeeper like Edison. Now, I don't think he's the man moving forward. Newcastle. Oh, Newcastle. Newcastle, this transfer window might be just a nightmare for them because they were looking to keep a player like Isaac, but Isaac is actually the biggest story, okay, this summer for them, and not in a good way. You know, the Newcastle owners actually came into the league with lots of enthusiasm and financial backing. They have done well despite the financial fair play and profitability. I'm sorry, define the financial fair play, profitability, and sustainability rules. How they deal with Isaac will be crucial for them this season. If they can manage to keep Isaac, I'm sorry about that. Keep in mind, it's not as if Isaac has 1 year or 2 years left on his contract. He has 3 years left on his contract. But can Newcastle control this narrative? If they are able to control the narrative and keep Isaac, that will be good and make him happy, giving an improved contract so that maybe if he wants to leave next year, he can leave for 150 million pounds, the amount that Newcastle is willing, to take or is trying to push. But I also think that they can also sell him. You never know what happens. I saw some outrageous amount of money that some Saudi clubs actually are offering for his services. 600, 700 million, 700,000 pounds a week. That's a lot of money, But I don't think he's trying to go to the Middle East anytime soon. But if Newcastle can improve his contract, maybe he can make a U-turn, decide to stay for 1 year because Newcastle doesn't really want to sell him. But one problem with Newcastle that they have not been able to compete financially in transfer market is just because of what I told you, the rules, the fair play rules, in the market. They came into a team that was involved in so much debt, or that had so much debt. They have not been able to make Newcastle real competitive, where they can spend money, in order to buy or bring the big names to the squad. So they are actually lagging because of that. Let's see what happens in the next week, 2 weeks. Let's see what happens with Isaac. But he did not travel with them for preseason. The reasons that were given, some muscle problems that he's been having. We are not sure about that. The next team I'll talk about is Tottenham. Tottenham is coming from a very good season in Europe. Won a rare trophy after a very, very long time. They have a new coach. They let the old coach go. And Frank Thomas actually is coming from Brentford. Is coming to a situation where Tottenham is not expecting him to win the league. Tottenham is expecting him to make a push for European football. I know they are playing European football this season, but I'm talking like for next season. When you look at the formation, Thomas Frank, he likes to play in a 4-3-3 or 3-5-2. Okay. Frank is coming into a better situation that the previous Tottenham coaches have been. He's coming into a squad high with confidence because of what they achieved last season. However, he doesn't have the depth in his bench, in the midfield, in attack, in order to compete for Champions League football. That's my opinion. What do you guys actually think about the transfer window? Are players overpriced? Please comment. Let's have this conversation. One thing that I know is that the Premier League will be loaded with strikers. Gyökeres is here. Isaac is there. Haaland is there. Liverpool has a lot. Liverpool, Isaac might be playing for Liverpool or he might still be at Newcastle. Mo Salah is there. I mean, this is about to be an amazing season. Okay. Thanks for listening. Please go follow me on YouTube, follow me on Facebook, comment, share, and let's grow this channel. Thanks for watching 19.5, presented to you by True Light.